Check my levels.
Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2.
Side B Radio, who's this?
Yo, can I hear that new Tekashi joint?
Yo, this is the powerful Pablo Sugar Bear, one of Strong Island's finest, and you are now tuned in to Side B TV with my boy Phil Jackson. Strong Island, stand up.
Hey, what's going on? This is Phil Jackson, host of Side B TV, being brought to you on the Channel Zero Network. Please go back and hit that like and subscribe button. Hey, look, man, I'm having so much fun doing these interviews on Channel Zero. Shout out to C-Doc, shout out to Chuck D. You know, they're giving me the platform, and I'm taking full advantage of it. And, you know, I have a couple of good interviews up there, and thank you for everybody tuning in and viewing my interviews, man. Hopefully, you know, I'm giving great interviews and giving you a lot of information, you know, just trying to talk hip hop, trying to talk about the culture with these artists. You know, that's what it's all about, man. You know, and that's why I have Side B Radio every Sunday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on 105.1 The Beat of the Beach in Atlantic City, where I play hip hop music 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Shout out to my man Rob Schwartz out there. Shout out to ACX1 Studios. You know, just shout out to the whole staff out there just doing their thing. Real quick before we get into this interview, big shout out to DJ J Ski. Shout out to the Awesome 2. Shout out to DJ Soulbuck, because, you know, they're on the same radio station. They're on 105.1 The Beat also. So just don't check out my show. Go check out their shows, because DJ Soulbuck and J Ski, they're on Saturdays, and with the Awesome 2. That's the Saturday lineup. Shout out to my man THE out there, you know, the 2-hour show. He comes on 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 105.1 The Beat also. So, you know, we're just trying to make great content, great music, great programming. DJ J Ski's show is 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Saturdays. Soul Bucks is 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. The Awesome 2s is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., I believe. But if you want to check, just go on their Instagram pages, and they have all the information right there. But I got another great interview coming up right now. Shout out to C-Doc, shout out to SpitSLAM, shout out to Chuck D. I had the honor and privilege to interview Sugar Bear. He is the legendary MC from out of Long Island, New York. You know, he has those 2 iconic songs out, and, you know, they compiled all his songs, and they have a new project out that's on SpitSLAM Records right now. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the legendary MC himself, Sugar Bear. I hope you enjoy this interview. Side B TV, Side B Radio. Follow me on Instagram at Side B Radio, and that's how we're doing it. I'll talk to you soon.
And now your feature presentation.
I went a step further this time, because I'm gonna tell you right now, out of so many years, I never dreamt of having this interview right here. Classic songs back in 1988. I'm telling you right now, songs were truly classics. 2 songs that came out. I mean, absolutely classic songs. And it wasn't just, you know, East Coast. It was all over. I mean, off of these 2 songs, this artist, He traveled the world. He worked with famous artists and producers. He managed up and coming artists back then. And now he's just gonna give us his journey. Just give us his story about his journey on, how he started and what he's doing now, because he compiled all those songs that he did back in '88. And shout out to SpitSLAM Records, and they compiled a whole list of demos, and they made an album out of it, which is truly dope. I am pleased. Look, man, this is a true honor because I thought I'll never get this interview. I have my man, legendary Sugar Bear, on Side B TV. How you been doing, sir?
Good, man. Good. It's my pleasure being on your show, man. Word up.
Man, look, you in the studio. Where you in the studio in Long Island?
Yeah, you see it up top there. I got a little
Word.
cutout of Strong Island on that. My
That's
boy.
what's up, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, look, man, I want to thank you for coming on because you were on my radio show and we talked for maybe like 15 minutes, and I told you that I was going to get you back on because like for a radio interview, it only takes like a couple minutes and you really can't get into everything that you want to talk about. But I want to first of all thank you for coming on. Thank you for all your service in the hip hop culture, man, and you're still doing it. My first
pleasure. It's my pleasure, boss. It's not a problem.
You know what? My first question is like just growing up in Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
The powerful power lord himself. How did you get your name, Sugar Bear?
Well, okay. All right. So to go, all right. Sugar Bear came from when I was living in Queens.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a foster child in Roosevelt, Long Island.
Okay.
Before I knew anything, I didn't know nothing about no Queens and boroughs and all that stuff. I knew about Roosevelt, Long Island.
Right.
Then my biological moms came and got me. Then I moved to Queens.
Okay.
All right. So growing up there, that was the 70s. You know what I mean? And they had that character that on the cereal box, Sugar Bear.
Okay.
And I'm 5'7". And if you pull the box up of Sugar Bear and look at me and look at every look-alike, but it started from a fight that I had in Queens on the same block I live on with one of my friends.
Okay.
And I don't know, I won the fight. No cap in here.
Right.
I won the fight, but at the end of the day, they started calling me Bear.
Okay.
It went from Butterball to Bear. How that happened, I don't know. They said I was, they were calling me Butterball first, as in Butterball Turkey.
Right.
But it went into that, and then all of a sudden, the Sugar Bear came into play.
Okay.
And it stuck.
Okay, so you said that you lived in Queens for a minute. When did you move to Long Island?
That 1976.
Okay. Now, how was that transition from moving from Queens, New York to Long Island? And what part of Long Island did you move to?
I moved to Freeport, which is the next town over from Roosevelt.
Okay.
Yeah. The transition, I mean, it was crazy. A lot of things look familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I got out here. My foster family was still on the block. My mom was into gambling and all that stuff. So she wanted to go to bingo and Vegas and all this stuff. So she was still set up for me to go on the weekends, with them and spend time with them while she goes on her excursions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, in order to get there, there's one bus. This is a story I never told. There's one bus that goes to Babylon, Long Island, which is way out east. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's before the Hamptons, but it's on its way to the Hamptons, And I was told to get on the bus that goes down Babylon Turnpike. So it's two buses. All I saw was Babylon.
You got on the wrong bus.
I got on the wrong bus. Well, I'm glad I got off a couple of towns away going at these, you know what I'm saying? They came and got me, and that was it. But yeah, the
How old,
transition,
how
huh?
old were you? How old were you when you got on the wrong bus?
Yo, there's a timeline on that. So I would say maybe about 15,
Okay,
because I
okay,
was in junior high school, at this time. So
right.
it's like about maybe 15, I think I
Okay,
was. Yeah. And I'm not good on timeline. I know the stories, but I'm not good on the year, date, and all that.
got you, got you, got you.
Yeah. But making that transition from Queens to Freeport, you know, I wasn't thinking about nothing too much, man, because I was in my own world, being a foster child, trying to figure out what love is. I
Right.
want to know what love is. I always, when that record came on, I was like, oh, that's in my playlist.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because as a child growing up, you're confused. You're going from here to there. You're just like, yo, what the hell? What's going on here?
So when you moved to Long Island, so that was like your permanent, that was permanent for you then, correct?
Yeah, yep, exactly. So it's not like I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm from Queens too.
Hmm.
I wind up back here. I was born in Harlem Hospital,
Okay.
you know. So in order to get my birth certificate, I had to go to the boroughs. I had to go Manhattan and get my birth certificate. That was
Okay.
that was back in '88 when the record came out. But
Got you, got you. So
yeah,
let me ask you a question. Like, growing up in the household in Long Island, like was it filled like was your household filled with music?
no, I
Really?
found nah. I wasn't. The radio was Chuck Leonard, WABC, you
Hmm.
know Jerry Bledsoe, Super 16 on your AM dial, and later on came uh, the BLSs and all that stuff. But what had happened was it was the Jackson Five came in my life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, it wasn't no music. It, because I became on my own at the age of 16.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's a story outside of the foster parent and biological moms where I wind up being on my own at 16 years old. So music was the only thing that calms the savage beast in me.
Hmm.
You know.
And you said your favorite group was what, the Jackson
Oh
Five?
yeah, Jackson Five. Yeah, Jackson Five was my favorite group, and
What was
still
your
is to this day.
what is your favorite song from the Jackson Five?
Well, all I do is think of you was a record that I was singing in all talent shows in school
Okay.
and even outside of school.
Okay.
All I do is think of you, Daddy's Home by Jermaine, Sugar Daddy. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, those were it. I wasn't doing I Want You Back and ABC and all. I
Right.
wasn't mimicking that. You know what I'm saying?
So
I had a love for the slow jams. Because
right.
I'm a 62 baby. So in the 70s, they had all the slow records that was dominating radio. Blue Magic, Black Ivory, Unifix, and the list goes on, you know?
So, starting off, basically you said, being a Jackson 5 fan, R&B, hip hop really didn't take off as then. So like when you first heard hip hop, like how did that make you feel, and where were like and what was the first your first experience, dealing with, the hip hop culture, whether it be a party or breakdancing or, just, like what was your very first experience and where was it at? Was it in Long Island or was it in the other boroughs in New York?
Okay, the summer of 1976, that was my last summer at the Burks family house where I was staying at with my moms and my sister. And they trying to put this. I want to put it in a way where um that was the summer of '76 is when I started going to block parties and all that stuff out there in Queens. And that was
Okay.
that summer before I came and landed back into Long Island. And there was a friend of mine named Sidney Harris. He was the first before I heard of Grandmaster Flash. He was called Kid Flash,
Okay.
and he's from St. Albans, Queens. We went to school. Good friend of mine. I haven't seen him since I left. You know, and just watching the block parties and stuff like that, DJing and rap. But I didn't take hold of it because I was still into the bands in the garage. You know, the bands was still playing, all the hit R&B records that was out, disco records or whatever was out at that time. But we wasn't plugging in DJ equipment.
Mm.
We was plugging in guitar in the amplifier, bass, guitar, and microphones. The drum set didn't even have mics set up or nothing like that, like how they do, for recording in studio. But nah, I was still into the band scene. I wasn't even looking at that. That was, this is something that's coming. Because once again, I still had a lot of things heavy on my mind.
Right.
So I wasn't looking at that. I was too busy trying to get attention.
Got you. So when did that change from, you know, the band scene to hip hop? Like when did all that change for you? Was it a song, or was it you went to a party and said, "Yo, was it another party somewhere else?" It's like, "Yo, this is
Mm-mm.
absolutely crazy." So like, when did that all change for you?
You know, at the end of when it all changed for me is when I ran into TA, which his name is AKA Son of a Zerk. When I met him, everything has changed. It changed because he was in cahoots with the Bomb Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Keith and Hank, Spectrum City.
Mm.
And they had a studio because they were our local DJ crew. So
Okay.
anywhere you went in Roosevelt, whatever, Spectrum City was the one that they either got hired or set up in all the parks out there. And once again, this is this is before all that. The band and the music. It was still happening when I came to Freeport.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was still into the band scene. My boy Wayne Glover, he played drums. His brother Greg, God rest his dead, he played the bass. I think Kenny played lead guitar. These are three brothers. TA was into percussions.
Okay.
I yeah, in Queens, I was in the drum corps in the Marine in the cadets.
Okay.
So I knew how to play drum. The snare drum. In the cadets, I was in the drum corps. So learning paradiddles and all that stuff, and flim flams, not reading music, just hearing the way it sounds. And I was still doing that when we came to Freeport. It was still happening. The bands was still happening. There's a lot of bands out there. And this is before hip hop still.
Mhm.
'76 hip hop, it was blooming. It was like the flower. It's like, oh, this is a good batch of weed right here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's about to that's about to bloom. What is this?
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? The next thing you know, it's called Cecilia. But but the band scene was still happening because we were buying tickets not to rap concerts, rap shows.
Mm-hmm.
We was buying tickets to go see Rick James, Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament Funkadelic, Isley Brothers. You know what I'm saying? Hip
Right.
hop wasn't there yet. So at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I watched it through TA and Spectrum City with that. Now, is it a thing that that I fell in love with, I can't say because I don't know what love is.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
okay. That. Hey, what was the name of your band?
I didn't have a band. I was just Teddy Jackson singing Michael Jackson songs.
Oh, okay.
I used to be in programs like Operation Alternative. They do a show and then we go around town and perform. We're gonna go to Connecticut, take this show. They, back in the days they used to have the youth center programs,
Yep. Yep.
which they don't have no more.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And that was what was good for me doing that. I had no problem doing that.
So
The
you're you're going from band, you're going to
the love I have for music.
the yeah,
That's where
yeah,
I'm at.
absolutely,
It's
yeah.
the love I have for music. Now,
But-
when
but- but
the changing of the guard came in, that's a different story.
that's what I was just about to ask you. The transition from live bands and singing and arranging music and all that going to hip hop, was that a hard transition for you?
No, it was just something I was watching and doing. I see it one time. I wasn't the dude behind the boards and all that stuff. Let's get that clear. I had everything was in my mind creatively. You know, I can hear, uh, I can hear, let's say I hear a beat right now, and I can hear something that can go with that beat. And that's when the sampling era was involved you know, with hip hop, when the sampling thing started happening. Because my first taste of hip hop was listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Funky Four plus one more,
Hmm.
and Treacherous Three. Now, out of all of those three, there was another gentleman by the name of Cool Cow, which I was introduced to maybe last year, and
Okay.
he was the first artist on that Enjoy record label. Didn't even know that.
Mm,
You know, that's why you have to do your research on a lot of things once you into something.
right.
But when I heard the five, lost my mind. When I heard the three, lost my mind. When I heard Funky Four plus one more, lost my mind. So, that was something. It wasn't telling me this is what I want to do. At no time was I mentally, was I in a mental state of saying, you know what, I could do this.
Mm.
This is what I want to do. At no time. All right.
So so going back to the band, like, and you're performing Jackson 5 songs. Did you
Yeah.
ever write original material for yourself?
Like songs,
Yeah.
like singing songs. Nope.
Mhm. That is
Nope.
so crazy.
I'm Michael Jackson. I'm Jackson 5 first cousin because my last name is Jackson. And I don't know why you don't claim it.
Hey, we might be cousins. You never know that. I'm gonna have to go back
Hey,
on my search.
and
Yeah,
I can dig it.
yeah,
Word
yeah,
up.
we might be cousins. You see what I'm
There's
saying?
20. There's 21 of us.
Hey, look, man. There is a rumor that I have on the Jackson side. I do have family in New York City somewhere, so I'm gonna have to go back and research that.
I hear you,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? So,
Yeah.
so your first time going into the studio with guys that create hip hop music, what was that experience?
Okay, so this is the year 1985, 86.
Okay.
Your boy out in the world, homeless and all this stuff. Okay, mind you, remember I told you I was on my own at 16.
Hmm.
Literally at my own apartment, going to night school.
Hmm.
Okay, I had access to do what the hell I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. Now I'm out in the world trying to figure things out, and still am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I still have youth in me because I was doing grown man shit when I was a youth.
Right.
And that's one of the things why I relate with Michael Jackson. Don't give a fuck about all the bullshit, the boys and all that. I don't want to hear all that. Besides the fact that he was not guilty for those
Right.
charges. So you believe what you want to believe. But as far as someone into music and all that stuff, that's where I was at. That's how I relate to Michael. But
Gotcha.
anyway, yeah. But I was homeless and everything, right? And I became homeless after with Chuck, Hank Shockley, Butch Cassidy, Keith Shockley, um, the whole BAU radio station and all that. I just wanted to be somewhere and be down.
Gotcha. Okay.
You find what I'm saying? I just wanted to be down and be somewhere. And that's where I was at with TA. TA and his group. These are my brothers. God rest his dead, Jawel, Pop Smash. Um, they formed a group called White Walt was part of it too, but then it really came together when it was just three of them, and that was TA, Pep, the rapper PEP, and Jawel. They were called Townhouse Three.
Okay.
Now this is when hip hop is in its happening.
Right.
They're into it. I want to be down. I'm not thinking about being a rapper. I'm too busy street nigga. I'm a street dude, you know? And I become, my name is still Sugar Bear, but then I wind up figuring out where can I place myself in with TA, Pep, and Jawel.
Right.
So I was running around talking about I was their manager.
Mm.
I wasn't managing shit.
He wasn't managing nothing.
I was doing simple things like, what, people have, your assistant, personal assistant, role manager, you know, check mic 1, 2, check mic, thinking I'm doing something. But that's what it was. And then I really became more in depth with the homelessness. And then I wind up in Coney Island,
Okay.
Brooklyn. This is when it started.
Got you.
Um, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it started in Brooklyn. I ran into a young lady by the name of Glamorous. Now, there's a story that goes back with me and Glamorous. There was a talent show that was given by Spectrum City at a
Okay.
roller skating ring. She entered it, but I'm telling her the story that because she thought that I was in it too. She forgot how I went down. She came to me and I produced a beat in the studio. I was living in the studio, me and
Right.
Marty Mark. You know what I'm saying? Chucking them.
Mm.
Excuse me. And did a beat for her competition. Then, when the day of the talent show,
Mhm.
I mean, right, the contest, Chuck introduced her with stating Sugar Bear on the beat,
Mm.
and she won. She won, but she had it thinking like we won, like how like we tied. No, it was just the introduction of how Chuck introduced you with me on the end of it by making me shine as like producer.
Mhm.
It was just a beat. Back in the days, it was just a beat. Remember when LL came out? I need a beat. It wasn't
Yep.
no scratching and all that stuff. It was just a beat. You know what I'm saying? So we was just making beats and she rapped off it and won. So we go back at that time, boom, and then years go by. You know, that's how far. We're talking about early '80s because I got caught up in Coney Island about '85,
Mhm.
and I 85, '86, and I run into Glamorous out there. and she was on her way to Anthony Dick's house,
Okay.
who everybody know Anthony Dick from MC Search, the Gas Face.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the DJ for the original Bad Boys featuring K Love with the
Gotcha.
first
Okay.
Inspector Gadget record.
Yes.
Big, big hit. You know what I mean? And she was doing some stuff with him.
Okay.
Later on, finding out Search, I met Search, you know what I'm saying, there too, because he did his first record by himself, about third base. And then I started hanging out with them.
Okay.
So now, once again, this is that crack era. I'm fucking around. Niggas got me selling crack. In order for me to live, I got to be in the hole, selling crack. This is why I'm trying to tell, the story. I think, so when did you become Sugar Bear? It's a lot that came with this
A lot
before
that
the
came with
Sugar
it.
Bear shit. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, I love music. Regardless to the transition, I still love disco. But hip hop came and knocked out hip hop and all that
Right.
rock, not rock and roll, that fucking rock music came out. It took away the punk rock sound, came into play. It took disco out of here. You know what I'm saying? But I
That's what's
still
up.
love listening to my disco music, still to
Right.
this day, because I'm
So
cut from that cloth. I'm
so
not just into Motown.
so let me ask you a question. Like, what was your first rap that you wrote? What was the actually first rapper? Because shout and also too, I don't want to glaze over that,
Hmm,
but shout out to Glamorous because I actually play her
that's my
music
girl.
on my show, and shout out
Yeah,
to
that,
SpitSLAM for sending me her music, and I want to do an interview with her also because her story is incredible also. But going back to you, like what was
but
what?
when we
Oh, go
say
ahead, go ahead.
when we say that, glamorous and her music, we gotta and thanks to SpitSlam, we also gotta give Half Pint, you know,
Yes, yes.
two queens and a mic. And
Two
Half
queens
Pint
in a
is a
mic.
member. Yeah, Half Pint is from Son of Berserk. You
Okay,
understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so and it's a brilliant idea. In the studio I'm in right now is Rich Sons, who did the production on those songs on
okay.
that EP. On that EP. But yeah, I just gotta clear that up.
Oh yeah,
Half
yeah,
Pint,
definitely.
yeah, Half Pint plays a major role in that. You know what I'm saying? But your question, back to your question again.
Yeah,
You said oh yeah, with glamorous.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how it started over there. You know what I'm saying? And then I wind up in Heavy D and the Boys video because I was running around with Houdini. I was with Dice. His name is Dice, Sugar Dice. He was Houdini's road manager.
Hmm.
But these gentlemen took me in their crib, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was out there. In order for me to live, I got to, you know what I'm saying? They had me in different spots, selling crack, get that money. I mean, that's what was happening back then. You
That's what's.
know,
Well,
that's what.
what video were you in with Heavy D? Like, what video was
Oh,
that?
the first video, Mr. Big Stuff.
And I had to go back and look at that.
Yeah, that happened. That happened through another Long Island alumni, Woody Rock,
Okay,
was part of the Uptown Kicking It crew. And he
gotcha.
came out of a group called Choice Five MCs. And they had split up because the Choice Five MCs became seriously fined.
Okay,
So it was cut down to three members and the DJ, Chip C, my boy. And Woody Rock went out and went and ventured out and became part of Uptown Kicking It
oh,
with
okay.
Groovy Chill, Finesse Sequence,
Yep.
Marley Marl
Hmm.
was with them too, and Heavy D and the boys. You
So,
know,
so when was your like you're actually
The,
first?
oh, that was the question.
Yeah,
Rap?
yeah, no. But no,
Oh,
I love the backstory, so that's why I let you go
oh,
ahead. But
oh.
what was the first rap lyrics that you wrote?
I gave it to Son of Berserk. It was it went mind over matter. I am the Mad Hatter. I got a fly girl, and you wish you had her. And I gave it to TA.
Wow.
That's when everybody started saying, "Yo, you need to write for TA and all that snapping jokes and all that shit." You know what I'm saying? But I just that was the first bar that I ever wrote. You know, and then just listening to music and shit. You know, back in the days, I know a lot of people can relate to this. You know, uh, anything. Number 9 brown bags from the bodega. We called them deli or to the store. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't bodegas then. You know, they would store. Go to the store and get me this, that, and you had the number 9, number 5, number 2 size brown bags. You know what I'm saying? Toilet tissue, napkins, paper towels. That's how the actual record was put together.
Really? So
I,
when did you really start getting serious about being, a rapper or
I
MC?
never I never did.
Mm,
It was something that was happening. Okay, I wind up still homeless. This is why I wind up in Long Beach, Long Island. I got the
okay.
fuck up. I got the fuck up out of that crack shit. I've experienced some shit that I don't want to ever experience ever again.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the actual physical things that niggas was doing when they was fucking up.
Mhm.
So when I left there, what I took was one thing: the word scandalized. Motherfuckers out there scandalizing the packages. You over here scandalizing the packages. Niggas was getting beat the fuck up, taking a little bit out, put the top back on and selling, complaining to the boss. That's what the bosses was saying, scandalizing the packages. Knowing damn well there was a rock in that cap. Nigga take that rock out. And
Yeah, I'm smiling because
I gotta keep it a buck.
that was like my next question. Because I always wanted to know,
Mhm.
don't
Where this
scandalize my, I always wanted to know what was the premise of that song. That I
okay.
always wanted to know.
Right. So you know how words come out, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
Mm-hmm.
So I took scandalize into I out of scandalize I put I was looking through a window with scandal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling people not to scandalize mine.
Mm,
Mind your business.
mm.
That's what the deal was with that. So I asked people, how many people know what a scandalize is? And with my
So,
DJ cut cousin, I
so,
tell
so,
him he says it's a motherfucker that don't know how to mind their business. And I go, how many of y'all hate a motherfucker that don't know how to mind their business? Crowd going crazy. Yeah. And then I go into the beginning of the record.
now when you laid that track, like,
I just wanted to be down. I,
so, did you expect anything to come out of that? Meaning that, say, hey, I'm just here, just having fun. I'm gonna just make this record, this, that, and the third, and
it's not even a record. Let's start from that era. From that time. I was in Long Beach, Long Island, homeless and all that stuff. And I ran into a young lady. You know what I'm saying? And this young lady had some friends,
mm-hmm,
and her friends was the crew that set it off for me. The Players Club, Boulevard Tenard, Cisco, Playboy, and GM Web B, aka X Ray. God rest the dead. May he rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Web D, if it wasn't for Web D, none of this would have happened. I used to go and hang out with them. You know, it was a place to go smoke. We were
Mhm.
smoking, listening to music, DJing, making tracks. That's what Web was doing. Web was
Okay.
already on that. So I got a cassette tape of my first demo. My first demo. And I'm using Parliament Funkadelic. If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boy. And all I'm it's really the bass line. Dun, 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 dun,
Mhm.
and it was called I forgot, it's gonna come to me in the conversation. But I still got it on cassette. I haven't heard it in so long. I've got to find it because I got so many cassettes. It's ridiculous.
So, who was the producer of "Don't Scandalize Mine"? Like, who
Okay,
produced?
all right. In all reality, you know, not knowing the business and learning the business,
Hmm.
I give all credits to, G and Web D as far as the production of it. But um, if we actually break it down, we both put that together. It's not like I'm looking for beats, I'm looking for tracks, and he brought me a whole tape with a whole bunch of beats on it. We did that from scratch at his crib.
Mm.
And as one thing led to another. So it started off with the Lynn Collins sample, and then from there on, you know. But at the end of the day, because he was a DJ and all that stuff, he put it all together. GMWebD.
So,
And then,
who got a hold of that record? Who
well,
got a
what
hold of
happened
that?
was, you're saying a record. It wasn't a record. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a
I'm saying,
tape with me. It's just
yeah,
a tape with me rhyming on it. It
who got a
wasn't.
hold? Who got a hold of that
Well,
tape?
okay, once again, we're going back to the band era where, Paul Shabazz did. Where I brought it to 510 South Franklin, where it's the house. Now it's the house of Public Enemy, not Spectrum City. Now it's the house of Public Enemy. All the studios, the Public Enemy got the whole upstairs floor. Paul Shabazz, he's still with his band. Still, he's a mixture of Earth, Wind, and Fire and Rick James,
Okay.
not Rick James. He's a mixture of all the bands. His
Mhm.
band is a mixture of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Rick James, Parliament Funkadelic, and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he he had his own record label called Cosmic Records. You know what I'm saying? He had his own record label. And he was pressing his own records with his band. I brought the tape. I'm sitting up here, yeah, look at this, listen to this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And he said, yo, do me a favor. I want to take this to my dad, whatever. Don't tell Chuck and them.
Really? Why did he say don't tell Chuck?
So Paul felt he had something here. So
Oh,
he said
okay.
he wanted to make it a record.
Mm.
I wasn't asking for no record. I was just doing what everybody else was doing in their DJ crew. Everybody in the block, whoever was down with the DJ, you was rapping, whatever, you was at a party. Remember they call them battle tapes now, but motherfuckers was at parties getting on the microphone rapping.
Got you.
Back then it was all to the beach, y'all, like grasshopper hopping on the morning lawn. You know it's got to be on. That's it. You know, and I I don't I don't know. It was just something that came came together, built by Lego. You know what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying? I was putting pieces together and all that stuff. And then when Paul and his pops sat me down and said that they wanted to make a record out of it, that's when I knew without knowing that I had to get serious about it to record it in the actual studio.
Got you.
Ian London out here in Long Island.
Got you.
I still wasn't taking it serious because I know nothing about the business. I thought I was going to sit here and learn the business by these guys, you know. So, the record dropped 1988 on Coslet Records. It got played on college radio stations, BAU, Hofstra, out here. I don't know where and how it where it wind up at for it to be, for it to be in Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, Delaware. I don't know how that happened. I promise you. I got a picture of us going to get the records, the 12 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Webb, and cousin. We went to go get it. We went to go get them. How it wound up, I don't know. I think it might have been because of Sheila Atkins, who I was,
Okay.
was my management, and she managed Evelyn Champagne King.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But Sheila had passed away, and I miss her. You know what I'm saying? Because she plays an important part of the Sugar Bear stuff before I actually signed to her, because she was managing Paul Shabazz now.
Okay.
And I went out on tour. I went out on tour to the UK before I was signed to any management and all that stuff. I was hollering at her to help me while I was already doing all this stuff. And she
Gotcha.
did.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
so like you said, it made its way to college radio stations
Right.
up there in New York City, up there in New York, and then it made its way down to Jersey and Philadelphia. When did it hit mainstream, quote unquote, FM radio stations in New York City, and who played it first?
I believe, all right, so everybody's interested with the record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't even say everybody. I was lucky to be a part of Spectrum City and being cut from the Public Enemy camp, because yeah, it was Faith Newman, I believe her name is, from Def Jam Records.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of things me and Webb was doing. I mean, we produced a record off a Seriously Fine album, and apparently they were in cahoots with Leon Cohen, because Leo gave us our checks separately, at the same time, but gave us 2 checks for producing the record that we did with Seriously Fine. But I was always in cahoots with Def Jam, with Sugar Dice and all that stuff.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? Going up there and all that stuff. So I'm familiar face and all that. But when the record came out, Chuck and them was already on Def Jam, and I had to sit down at the Palladium. I'll never forget it. I had to sit down with Russell. But me not knowing the business and all that shit, Russell was interested with it, and so was Next Plateau. And the only reason why Next Plateau was interested with it is because of Cool DJ Red Alert. Me and Red Alert, were boys back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We still boys to this day. My drinking buddy, he don't do that no more. I do my shit on occasions when I know I ain't got to get up and do nothing tomorrow. I don't get out a day. I don't get off work, go get a bed. I don't knock nobody. I don't judge nobody. But I don't do that, because I know when I get turned up, and I ain't going nowhere tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You gotta sleep that shit. Let's sleep that shit off. So anyway, Cool DJ Red Alert asked me if he could use side B, Ready to Penetrate, to be put on his first compilation album.
Okay.
From Next Plateau. And it happened. I was now, mind you, now there was another record out at that time
Mm-hmm.
by Chuck Chill Out and Cool Chip called "The Rhythm Is the Master,"
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and this story still goes on. Like, I was the first one using that Talking Head sample.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a thing with me back then. You know, why did Red Alert want Ready to Penetrate when I'm trying to push Don't Scandalize Mine?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it wind up, Don't Scandalize Mine wind up on, on Next Plateau because my loyalty with Reg. That's what that was. But I'm thinking, damn, Chuck Chill Out and Red Alert, oh, they got me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
We
okay.
we boys, we're boys to this day. Matter of fact, me and Cool Chip, we chopped it up. He performed at the Eisenhower Park concert out here, Rakim and everybody this past
And
couple of
that's what I was
weekends.
just about to ask you because it was the same sample. So back then, I'm not talking about now, but like back then, how did that make you feel when you heard that song? You said, wait a minute, we like we were the first ones to do it. So
It was
so
a cool.
how did that make you feel?
I don't, I look at it. I was looking at it as a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
I never looked at it as like, oh, niggas bit my shit. How they get it now? I mean, yeah, back then I was like, yo, but I wind up making sense out of it by saying it was a coincidence thing. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, uh, numbers don't lie. Comments don't lie. The record is an anthem,
Sure is.
and I'm not the one saying it. Y'all are the ones saying it.
Oh
My
no, it
fans.
definitely is.
You understand what I'm saying?
It was that and Ready to Penetrate. I'm telling you right now, man. I mean, and then that's what I was about to ask. Which came first? Don't Scandalize Mine or Ready to Penetrate? Which one came first? Because it just seems like they simultaneously just dropped, and it's like we're like, whoa, what? Like, all right, like what's going on right now? It's like,
I was.
is an album coming out of this? Because it was
Mm,
two back to back songs that we were like, yo,
both songs, right? Side A, side
yeah,
B, and
yes.
they always, as Chuck would say, side B always wins and shit like that. But it just happened to have two different, it was two different songs that affected people the same way. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Um, nah, I was writing. I had a whole bunch of stuff I was just writing. You know, I had a whole bunch of stuff that I was writing. I had Get It Together. Everything that you hear in those demos, I was writing all that stuff. I went to
Mm.
Europe. I had those rhymes already. On Tim Westwood, I went freestyle. I call it freestyle when you go on radio stations.
You was
You
on Tim
know,
Westwood.
but yeah, you pull it up. It's on YouTube with Stilo.
Mm.
Steezo. No, I'm sorry. I'm always saying, rest in peace to Steezo,
Mm.
the rapper Steezo.
Yeah.
It's on the same cassette. Tim
Really?
Westwood, Sugar Bear, and Steezo. It's on YouTube. I don't. I never uploaded nothing on YouTube. All the fans did all this stuff. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now to this day, everybody that has their own page with my record on, I read their comments and reply to all of them as I can.
So let me ask
It's
you
a
a question.
lot of
Right?
them. It's a lot of
Because
them.
like this is so interesting because you have the two songs out. You have Russell Simmons talking to you, you had Next Plateau talking to you.
Teddy
So
O'Oscar. Mhm.
so at any point were you signed to like a production deal, record like were you just were you signed because like this record is taking off these two songs are taking off so much like I automatically thought yo, he signed to somebody. So like, was it at that point did you sign to did you sign a record deal?
No, this is what happened. And I'm just now finding this out with all the remixes of
Mhm.
my record being handled the way they want to handle it. Like
Right.
my vocals, they doing beats over and all that stuff. So I call Paul, and now I'm asking for the masters. He don't know where they at. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So as I'm thinking and learning the music business and all that stuff, I'm saying, well, okay, he had to have. Now I'm sitting up here. I believe Paul signed some type of distribution deal
Mm-hmm.
because the record label name was subsidiary to Next Plateau. You follow what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
it also was on a overseas. It was on a different record label as well, Champion Records.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that he subsidized for distribution reasons.
Without even
You
telling
know,
you.
no, I mean, not knowing what the deal was. Yeah, I know I was a label mate because the record was under Next Plateau with Salt and Pepper and Ultramagnetic MC.
So let me ask you a question. So like, without even knowing, you had the two songs out. Did you ever get paid for those two songs?
Yep, I did and didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, here we go. I don't know the business. I didn't know the business. That's why I was
Right.
saying I was just trying to be damn. You know what I'm saying? I still don't even think back at it like that. Especially now. I mean, there was this company that Drew, Microphone Fiend. We'll give a shout out to Drew because he guided me to these individuals called Missing Link Music, you know. And they was the ones he told me that they can go and find money that's owed to you and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Right.
And so I jumped on them, and yeah, they found me a few hundred. It wasn't as major as the record is now, and how famous it is. You know what I'm saying? If it was ran under the proper vehicle, you know. But yeah, that's it. The only money I made was when I went on that UK tour.
And that's what I was just about to ask because like who set up that UK tour for you? And who
I
did you
believe
go out with?
it was me. I didn't go out with nobody. It was me. It was this promotion company. I forgot. I got the itinerary. I got everything
Mhm.
from 1988. You know, the whole tour list and everything. But it was Patrick Boxley. He worked up at Def Jam,
Okay.
and he knew how to reach out to me. And from there,
So
you know
that's
what
how
I'm
you
saying?
so that's how you got your money off of the
That
record.
tour. Yep.
Gotcha.
That was the only
So,
time I ever received a lot of money, and that's when Sheila came into play, and I think FedEx just started, and she sent all that money in the FedEx envelope.
so who financed your video? Because that's crazy. Because if you're under a record label, you think the record label will actually finance your video. So like, who financed your first video?
You heard of low budget?
Yeah.
No budget.
Wow.
That was a good friend of mine. He's in the video. He looked like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. King
Yeah.
Saul. He was interested. He was on top of it first, you know, with the video. You know, this is what he was into at that time, and said he wanted to do the video. Word, King Saul. We'll give him a shout out. He plays. an important part. You know, I didn't put the video never got put out until not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was called out to do a record with these gentlemen out in London who were fans of mine, who saw me perform the record, and these guys made themselves a record company, production team, and DJ.
Got you.
Clandis, DJ Credit One.
So how long were you on that UK tour?
That was a 2 week tour, and then when it was over, I had shows every day.
Okay. Off of those two songs. Over those two songs.
Off of those two songs. So, and I gave a half-hour show because here I am, got a show tape with the demos. Those demos was there. I was hard at work. I wanted to do an album.
Mm.
You know?
So
and if everything would have went well, I think, yeah. And my only regret was really not signing the Def Jam. Because I felt that I should have been under the wing of Chuck and them.
So did that put a sour taste in your mouth? And it's like I don't even want to be in this record business anymore. I see how it is right now, and I thought it was going to be different. I thought people were going to be cool, and I got all this backhanded stuff. People signing deals without me even knowing. My question, yeah, that's one of my questions. And my second question is, did you get everything straightened out now? So, like, do you actually own those two songs?
Well, to answer the first question, I did feel discouraged and all that stuff, but not saying, anybody jerked me and I like that, or like I'm doing, this business is shiesty and all that, because I didn't know the business to say if it was shiesty or not.
Got you. That's a fair assessment.
And second, I mean, it still remains the same. I mean, I can't fault nobody but myself for this one. You know what I mean? But I could have put more emphasis on learning the business for me to go further. I could have, but I started having kids, got directed. What happened? I thought, once again, it was a fluke to me. I didn't take it serious. I mean, at one time I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. When the record was hitting, I'm on tour and I'm like this. I'm like, I'm this guy. You know what I'm saying? So in comes all the stuff that I was working on, Get It Together, Chilling, Cadence, Violated, all that. I was dead serious about it back then.
So
I was focused.
So when that record was getting played and when it's still getting played now, you don't receive any revenue from that?
No, because after Missing Links, the gentleman that was helping me out,
mm-hmm.
they told me everything has ran its course as far as tracking down any more money, because anything after this is the samples. The samples wasn't cleared back then. You remember, no samples was cleared back then. Wasn't clearing them shits. We was just doing it.
So let me ask you a question. So did you, because the samples, Don't Scandalize Mine, a classic sample that was used. Do you have any recollection, or because that was done by the Talking Heads, and I didn't even know that they were from New York City. So when that record came out, so when that record came out, because punk rock and hip hop, they're like first and second cousins. So so when that record came out and you're using that sample, like did the Talking Heads reach out to somebody in your camp or the producer that or did you even have contact with them?
No, I heard a story about Chuck Chill Out. Chuck Chill Out record. I've heard a story that Chuck Chill Out record, David Burns and them, they ran up on them, but they didn't run up on me. And at the same time, David Burns had used it for, well, this kid named Casey Flight used it too, featuring David Burns.
Mm.
So it had to been, you know, and David was probably sitting there, nope, I'm just going to wait for this shit to rocket. So that's where it never rocketed like I was supposed to. You understand what I'm saying? And probably if I would have signed to Def Jam, they'd have put
Yep.
all the
Yep.
engine.
Yep.
That shit would have shot straight to the fucking Saturn.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Like both,
And
both,
that's why,
like your song, Chuck Chillout song, and the Talking Heads. Though it's a classic song, and I was wondering
don't
how
forget Jay-Z.
and Jay-Z. Yeah, well, I know
He slowed it down.
I know he had to pay. So I mean, but yeah, but I was just wondering because sampling was just coming into play with hip hop and all that, and I just wanted to know like that, did that affect your career? But moving on, you're coming back from the UK tour, you're a little discouraged. So like, when did you get into managing? Because you managed the Son of Berserk. So like, when did you get
I
into
never managed them. I
I
managed
thought you managed them.
Townhouse 3. I told you I wanted to be down. So in
Okay.
order for me, I'm not rapping. I'm still singing. All I do is think of you. I'm still a singer.
Right.
When TA formed his group, I was down with him. I'm down with TA, Pep, and Jawel. I put myself as their manager because I wanted to be down. And that's the way fucking Don't Scandalize Mine came. I wanted to be down with making a tape with me rapping on it.
Got you.
Not knowing that, the raps made sense in a way to a lot of people, And that's why I'll be like, yo, to make new music now is a strain. You know what I'm saying? Because all the rules and regulations that come with it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Metaphors, punchlines, and all that shit. Nobody was thinking that back in the days. They would just get in the studio, say your shit, and get the fuck up out of here.
Hey, my one question is because at one point Long Island was like, everything coming out of Long Island was like on fire. I mean, you, Public Enemy, Rakim, EPMD, the list goes on and on. But I want to get your opinion, just your opinion. It doesn't have to be a popular opinion. It could be somebody that we don't even know. Who was the most influential hip hop artist coming out of Long Island?
Most influential?
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be anybody that it could be somebody that it was.
I mean, it does. No, but influential, that word right there says it all. Because Chuck came out. Chuck came out and did what he was supposed to do with that Public Enemy thing. Influential, yeah, I was following that blueprint. Not in the form of knowledge, but in the form of the radical music sound, the music part. Because after me and Webb did Don't Scandalize Mine, Ready to Penetrate, I think we did one more song together, and that was Get It Together. But that was simple. That was my idea. But because he had the equipment, the 4-track studio and all that stuff, and I was like, hey, bro, what's happening, bro? With a beat, and then sampled the Jackson 5, Get It Together. You understand? That was mine. But anything after that was me. Paul didn't produce tracks. We would sit there and put my ideas to stuff. As you can see, it's really, we We didn't filter the beats. We we put a beat to a loop or something. If you listen to all those songs, you know what I'm saying? To all my demos. You know, wasn't no real. We put heavy beats on top of whatever loop that we did. You
Gotcha.
know, we didn't actually like how we did "Don't Scan," like how me and Webb did "Don't Scandalize Mine." You know what I'm saying?
So
And that was the thing about doing "Ready to Penetrate" because Paul was involved at that time,
okay.
and Webb was in. You know, we were just doing it. We were just doing "Ready to Penetrate." That's why you hear all the 808 kick and all that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what happened out of that. Like I said, man, I thought it was a fluke. I don't know. I was doing something. I wasn't even surprised I was doing a fucking record. I
Right.
made a record. I made a record. The only thing I say is that, I said when I was little doing Jackson 5 I want to make a record. Uh, that's it. I want to be like Michael Jackson, make a record.
That's what's up.
Nobody said
Now,
it was going to be a hip hop record.
how many demos do you have I know that there are a certain amount of records on the project right now that's out on SpitSLAM, but
The
altogether,
demos,
how many demos do you have altogether?
the demos was Violated, Chillin', Super Monster, You're My Girl, and Cadence. 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was five songs I was working on that never got released while I was trying to put together an album. Because there was no recording after I got back too.
Right.
There was no more recording. I was like, and once again, here I go with the bullshit, you know. Teddy O'Loughlin, when I heard wanted another single, I didn't. I was like, okay, cool. Can I get a? I'm demanding shit now. Can I get a picture 12-inch
So let
cover?
me
I
ask you.
wanted a picture.
So let me ask you a question because I'm gonna because I was jumping forward a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, now because you made a good
Eddie
point.
O'Loughlin, not Teddy O'Loughlin. Eddie O'Loughlin. But go ahead.
You you came back from your tour. You were still doing shows in the United States. When
Mhm.
did it kind of change for you? Because you were in high demand at one point. Then when did it kind of change for you that you weren't getting those calls anymore? And how did you how did you react to that? I mean, like did the reality set in? It's like, well, that was a good run. Let me just go out here and try to get a real job now. So how was all that film? And like when what year? Like because like you blew up in '88. What year did it kind of started to die down a little bit? And then because of course we jump into the '90s, the whole landscape of hip hop changed then. So like when did it actually change for you? And you were kind of like all the other older MCs out there. It's like, all right, well, we had a good run. So like when did that happen for you?
When I came back from off the tour, everything
Wow.
shut down. I
That
never heard my
that that
record.
that quick?
I never heard my record. I never heard my record on the radio. You know
Really?
what I'm saying? Yeah, I never heard my record. Everybody's telling me they heard it. I see. That's what I was talking about. I wasn't one of those that listen to radio and all that. I wanted to listen to what I wanted to listen to. You know what I'm saying? So I play my music, the music I want to hear, as many times I want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the record player at home and all that stuff. Still, 8-track cassettes. I'm playing what I wanted to hear. But what influenced me was LL Cool J, Cool G Rap, MC Shan. I'm cut from that. Cool Keith, Ultramag, Medic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what if you listen to me, you know, and because of my list, definitely Cool G. But niggas say that I sound like and Run DMC, and everybody sound like I sound like DMC on how I was taking phrases.
I'm gonna stop you right there. And I thought I was crazy. When you would say don't scandalize mine, I swear that was DMC. I always thought at one point that was DMC singing that. I
Right.
always thought that.
A lot of people say what well, you can hear what influenced me. I was taking a pot of niggas and putting it together and came out with Sugar Bear. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right out the gate, LL Cool J is harder as hell. I said it before once more, time after time. The intro.
Damn. Okay.
And the Cool G rap list.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
I'm a pot of niggas. That's why I said it was a fluke.
wow. So
I didn't expect the sound to be what it was because I did wanted to use the Talking Head sample. You know what I'm saying? Because of the bass line. Because back in the days, it was all about the hip hop was all about that fucking hard beat and the bass line.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is
So-
super great. That is, I thought I was crazy because I'm like, I always thought like, yo, is that DMC like singing that? With singing, I always thought that.
I'm the
And
king of rock. There is none higher.
I swore it was DMC.
Yeah.
Hey, you learn something new every day. But now 30 plus years later, going on 40 plus years later, you're on SpitSLAM Records, and you have the compilation of demo tapes. Never Lost My Demo. 88 demos is out right now on SpitSLAM Records. Please go out and support that. How did that deal come apart, and were you on board with that? What I mean that we on board with that is like I know who approached you, but when that person approached you, you're like, I don't know if I want to do all that because of like the past experience. So like what was your feeling about that about doing that deal?
Yeah. I immediately jumped on it.
Okay.
I immediately jumped on it. I said, Chuck, his the interview that I had on his C-Doc again, Chuck,
Shout out to C-Doc out
yeah. Oh, happy birthday, Jennifer.
there. Oh, Jenny, it's her birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
no doubt.
Sure.
And Ultramag Flatline. You know what I'm saying? And no, when I had my interview on this show, that's when I got resurrected, the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Ultramax 7 is the one that started this snowball effect. You know what I'm saying? Because he was posting all the videos with my record on it, and I shouted out to him. And from that point on, it went there, and I was their first guest on his People's Distinctive Travels podcast. And from that point on, yeah, he was a fan, like you first. No, I had to I got to get rid of that stuff now. We boys and families now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a regular dude like y'all, but I get it. You understand what I'm saying? I get it. But Chuck asks, on the interview, he's like, "Yo, babe, you got stuff there?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he said, "Send them to C-Doc," and I did. The rest is history. C-Doc loved it. Said he wanted to. Let's do it. He put his magic on them. It was on cassette, and there was no way I could do it. I had to, I told the story before. I had to, take the cassette, put it in the MP3 form, and send it to him. He did the rest of the magic. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
beautiful,
then
man.
as we were going, it was supposed to be an EP, but then all of a sudden, it just turned into an album, re-releasing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Re-release of Sugar Bear. And yeah, here's that question. I knew it was gonna come back. So with Paul about the do I own it? Rightfully so, I own it.
Mm.
But we're trying to get the paperwork, but we can't find where the actual master is. But rightfully so, after all these years, everybody owns their masters after this point in time. You know what I'm saying? Fuck paperwork, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I ain't really had no paperwork only with Cosmic Records. You know what I'm saying? I ain't signed no other contracts or anything like that.
So how does it feel now to have a project out and for the world to hear the music that you did back in '88? So how does that actually make you feel now? Because it's almost like full circle because now it's just due because all the stuff that was happening, like whatever was happening, not signing the contracts, and probably it was probably the best thing that you didn't sign any of the contracts. But like now, you do have a record out, and like how does that make you feel now after all these years?
That my dream came true. I said I was gonna make. I wanted the album. I made a record. At least I did that part. And coming up, but me and C Doc was talking about it. I said never lost my '88 demos. Oh my God, you nailed it with that one. Never lost my '88 demos. You know what I'm saying? And this is going out to the fans, though. You know what I'm saying? It's basically for the fans. This is what I was doing and stuff like that. But then it helps them re-release Don't Scandalize Mine because the album is selling because of Don't Scandalize Mine. Violated was bought and all that stuff. But because of the re-release of Don't Scandalize Mine, Ready to Penetrate, you know, that's what the sales is. And I'm happy with it, man. I got something I can say. This is my album. Put it out 2024, 23, 23, 24. I'm like, yo, let's, like I said, I'm still shaking it off, like,
Right, right,
well,
right.
I want to get back into things. I do know what's fair for me right now is to go and do shows, do the record. If Dougie Fresh could do the show and Lottie Dottie and get a bag and get up on out of there, a lot of them we one hit wonders. But I need to be where I'm appreciated at. I wasn't, quite appreciated. My peoples know the record, but not here in New York. A lot of people don't know me as Sugar Bear, you know, the recording artist.
So going forward, because this project is out right now on SpitSLAM Records.
Yeah,
Shout out to C Doc out there. Can we expect other projects from Sugar Bear in the near future?
I'm hoping so. I'm
Okay.
hoping so. I would like to get the feel of going back on stage though. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I said, they're only looking for the Don't Scandalize Mind Ready to Penetrate right now.
Mhm.
Nobody's looking for I have to ignite that again. And I think from this point on, while I'm alive, that's that's gonna be my legacy. Don't Scandalize Mind Ready to Penetrate.
Mhm.
As long as I can still get on stage and perform it, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
You know, I would, my creative process is different. I need beats. I need the song. I need music. I need something, you know, to sit down and write off of if I'm gonna do anything. And it will be different. And everybody's expecting the Don't Scandalize Mine. Everything is dated with me. You know, because a lot of things change. I got kids, grandkids. Everything. I'm 63 years old, and who knows? Like I say, you know what I mean? I just wanted to be down.
How have people perceived the project that's out right now? Like what's the response been like?
It's my people's from overseas. It's not here. I
Mm,
mean, a lot of times, the majority of people that know me and all that stuff heard this already because I got it on cassette. You
got
know what
you.
I'm saying? Right. So, and if they was to hear it for the first time and all that stuff, they'd be like, they can relate to it, and then there's a lot of people that it's like dated, which
Gotcha.
I can understand. You know what I'm saying? Which I can understand.
Now, has any producers reached out to you to actually, hey, I got some new music, I got some new beats. I want to see if you're interested in doing something like has any producers
I
reached
never
out
had,
to you?
nah, I never had that attention.
Okay.
Never had that attention. Like I said, the record was made here at 510 South Franklin Avenue, Hempstead, Strong Island, and went straight to London. So that's my address is Freeport, but I work in the UK.
Mm,
I get off work, I'm tired, I'm jet lagged, the whole nine. Nigga, leave me alone.
that's dope, man. That's hey, look. Shout out to Chuck D for actually,
Yeah,
believing in your
nah, all
material and
that
actually,
whole family, that whole Spectrum City
right.
family, man, and Shockley, Keith Shockley, and Chuck. If it wasn't for meeting them, you know, who
And to
knows?
be honest, I think it's a great time for you to have our music because all the veteran MCs, even though that it's new music that they have out, like your project that never came out is out now, and you could put that in with all the other veteran MCs what they're doing right now, like the LL Cool J's, the MC Lights, Daddy-O. I did an interview with him maybe like a year and
Hmm.
change ago. He has new music. Chuck Public Enemy has
Hmm.
new music. I want to ask you back then, did you see which artists? 'Cause, all you guys are from Long Island.
Hmm.
Who did you see is like, yo, he got something besides Chuck D? Because you already knew that Chuck had something. But what other
Hmm.
artists did you see is like, yo, he's gonna be something if he keeps this up.
Hmm. But you gotta remember Granddaddy IU too. We can't forget Granddaddy
Rest in peace,
IU.
to
God
Granddaddy.
rest.
Yes, yes, sir.
Word up. We can't forget him. Um, like I said, I wasn't looking at hip hop like that.
Mm,
I was listening to hip hop. I liked what I liked. You know what I'm saying?
got you.
When nobody was listening to ultramagnetic MCs, I was.
Mm,
You follow what I'm saying? Specific songs I like. You know what I'm saying? Songs that didn't make the radio. And I was one of those, which people go back to that and, make the albums that you can listen to all the songs on the album, you
and
know?
it's so crazy. Years later, Cool Keith, he's still making music out there.
And
Chuck
that's what
D.
I'm saying. But where does he go? His fan base is in the UK.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? And Cool is my boy, man. You know? We were
Yeah.
label mates. And,
Cool Keith, Chuck D. Um,
yeah, I
Busta
know
Rhymes
people
just
too.
just got inducted. He just won an award recently. So I mean, he
He
won a
got the
couple
first
awards
Rock the
recently. Yeah,
Bell icon or something like that. Mhm.
yeah. I mean, that's crazy, man. So I
Last
mean,
night.
like you Long Island guys, man. And I always did say this, like you guys had hip hop in a stranglehold at one point, man. You still do, man, because you have the newer artists out here. I think Rock Marciano is from Long Island. You got John Jiggs, he's from Long Island. Shout out to DJ Al out there because he put me onto a whole bunch of stuff, from cats from Long Island, man. And you know, I just want to thank you for coming on, man, because like
Mhm.
I think you're well, Archer Mag. Shout out to Archer because that's my brother too. He did a fabulous job with the interview, and I just wanted to follow up, just me personally, just to do my own interview because, like I said, when C Doc sent me a file, he sent me a file of records, and he said, "Yo, Phil, pick anything that you want to play on your show. It's cool. And, you know, I clicked on the one file, Sugar Bear. I was like, let me see. And then when I said, wait a minute, I said, is this the Sugar Bear that you see what I'm saying? That
That's the same thing. That's the
I was like, wait
same
a minute.
thing.
I said, wait a minute. Then I looked at the playlist because I played Don't Scandalize Mine. And then I said, wait a minute. I think this might not be the same guy. So then when I looked at the Ready to Penetrate, I was like, oh shit. I said, what? So I emailed C-Dot back. I'm like, he's on your roster? He was like, yeah. I was like, bro, I need to interview him. You see what I'm saying? Because I said, where's he been?
I appreciate that.
So I mean, and it's like I really want to thank you because, like I said, back in '88, I was 16 years old and I was living in North Carolina, but I used to come up, from North Carolina to Camden, New Jersey, and I would have a bunch of cassette tapes, and I would tape Lady B Street Beat off of Power 99 in Philly, and Ready to Penetrate.
I heard
Every show she played that, and to be honest, the first time I heard it, like, "Are you ready?" I was like, that is so crazy. That is super crazy. And now I have and I know that you did a lot of shows. You came down to Philly a lot of times to do shows, with Lady B and everything. I never caught that, but I was always a fan of those two songs, and now I have an opportunity to promote and to listen to Never Lost, my 88 demos out right now, and I'm telling you, it is super crazy. I like all the songs, and to be honest, I just like the grittiness of it. It feels so 88, and I love the now. You might it's outdated. No, I mean, yeah, to you it might be because you're the artist, but to me, like as a fan, like we like that static in the background and the highs and the lows, and we love all that, and especially I'm telling you right now, when you play that over the air, it's a different feeling, bro. It is truly it actually puts you back to that, to the basics, and that's what I love about this album right now, man. And I hope that we can hear more new music from you, man, because we
who
need
knows? Who
to hear
knows? I hear you, and that
long
you just
overdue.
well, you're just one to say that get me to recognize the fact. I just want to get back into it. Like I said, once I get back on stage and try to do, get something going with this, I can't say it's not possible. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I just want to get back on stage and do the song because there's no sense of me out here watching all these reunions and bringing out all these old, the OGs and the one hit wonders and all that stuff, and I can't come out and do Don't Scandalize Mine.
Any advice that you would like to give any artists out there that wants to try to push their music, because it's a little bit easier now than it was back then to actually push your music. So like, do you have any advice to any up and coming artists or even old school artists that say, hey, maybe I don't think I want to put out music, but you're inspiring like a lot of veteran MCs to actually put out music. So like, what's your advice to them?
Well, my advice is to love what you do. You know what I'm saying? If this is what you want, you gotta put the work in. It's a lot of work into this thing. You know what I'm saying? Know the business first, because you are the boss. You hire management. All these people, You don't get paid. How you gonna be able to pay them? So learn the business. That's all I can say.
That's what's up. How can people get in contact with you? How can people support this project? And just how can people just reach out to you, just to salute you and give you your flowers, man? Are you
Yeah,
on social media and everything like that?
yeah, I'm on social media. I'm on IG. It's SugarBear2162. Facebook, Teddy Jackson. But I'm really on the IG thing and SpitSLAM Records. All you got to do is get through to them. They'll get through to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I ain't hard to find. I'm out there. I want to give a shout out to my boy TA, the DJ. They call him Berserk, but he's under this TA, the DJ. We got a new joint that we put out every Saturday, you know, called Bass and Trouble.
Okay.
Not bass and treble. Not bass and trouble. Bass and trouble. Eat the bass and I'm always in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
I like
Word
that.
up. Yeah, that's a TikTok thing we do. You can go on like
Oh,
I
that's
said,
on
Facebook,
that's on TikTok.
Instagram. Yeah, we go live on TikTok and shit, and then we post.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Then we post everything. Just bugging out. Other than that, man, I appreciate you having me on this show, man. Word up. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Hey, look,
Word up.
the honor is truly mine, man, because like I said, back in '88, just being in North Carolina and coming up here, I really didn't know. I heard hip hop, secondhand kind of speak, kind of source, like living down south. But then when I
Right.
came up here, it was like a whole new experience. And your two songs really were the soundtrack of what I'm doing right now. Meaning that, you know, you hear those songs and you remember where you were at when you first heard those songs.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in my grandmother's living room in Camden, New Jersey, taping that, taping off of Lady B, and she playing those two songs. So, and it's just a memory that I will never forget.
That's
And
crazy. I did Camden High.
that is super crazy. When did
I
you do
did
that?
Camden High. I did Camden High with Craig G, MC Shin, and K9 Posse, Super Level C.
Oh, it had to be what, back in the 80s, 90s, 80s,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that shit. Yeah, that was late 80s.
late 80s. Had to be late 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
Mhm.
And just you getting your just due now is more deserving because of the fact is that you just like not stumbled into the hip hop culture, but you were just like, hey, look, I just want to just just I just want to be around all this stuff. I just want to I just want to be just here. And you happen to start writing songs and producing, making beats and everything like that. And and it seemed like it just all came natural to you because, like you said, it wasn't just about hip hop; it was just music, and I could just
Music.
tell that you're just a music guy, and that's what we're missing sometimes. Hey, it's not a look. We love the hip hop culture. We love the hip hop DJs. We love the MCs. We love the rappers, but you're just a music guy, and
That's,
you brung that to the game, and now is out right now showing the world what you had put out back in '88, and they're accepting it, and they're taking all that, and and they're supporting that. And like I say, bro, thank you for coming on, and anything that I can do on my end to promote you even more, just let me know. I'm playing your I think I played all the damn songs on my radio show, on the two radio shows that I have. So I mean, but I just want to thank you for coming on, and we hope to hear some more new music from you in the future, and we're gonna keep keep us updated on what you're doing, man.
I appreciate you, man. I will, man. Word up. I got your number, man.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? So before we sign off, one time for your mind. Love everybody. Word. Not in
Man,
the
look,
chat.
hey, look, man, this has been a great interview. I want to thank you for coming on, and I hope you come on again. You know, just to give us an update on what's going on, because we're not going to talk about it right now, but you do have some stuff in the making that you did tell me off the air, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. I
Yeah.
cannot wait for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're waiting for confirmation. So, we good.
That's what's up.
We
That's
good.
what's up. Hey, look, man, you have a good night, man, and thank you for
All right,
coming
you
on.
too. Yep.
Word.
Good looking. All right. Peace to all.
All right, peace, man. And that is gonna, man. When you think or you dream of times like this, for me, it's always been I've been standing in front of a mirror and just thinking of, man, if I got a chance to interview this guy, if I got a chance to interview this guy, what would I ask him? And this is way before I started doing radio and all that. But just loving music, just loving the hip hop culture, and just getting an opportunity to interview a legend is super super crazy. I mean, I interviewed PMD. You see PMD. I interviewed both of them on separate occasions, and Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Sugar Bear. I mean, it's like I have an opportunity to actually I have his number, and that's just a true honor. And didn't even know that the backstory to those songs, and not being signed, and not trying to find the masters and everything. And now he has a whole project out now, and like I said, please go out and support that. Never Lost My 88 Demos is out right now. Shout out to C-Doc out there. Please go to spitslam.com, and it has all the information up there. You can actually purchase the album up there, and it's super crazy, man. And just to interview these artists, just to give them their flowers while they're here, is a dream come true. And that's what Side B TV is all about. That's what the Boombox Union is all about. We try to bring to the forefront not just the legends, but just the up and coming underground artists, because sometimes they kind of get overlooked, especially the underground artists. They kind of get overlooked sometimes. I'm sorry. They kind of get overlooked sometimes, and we just that's what I'm here for. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Side B TV, the Boombox Union. Please go back and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching this great interview, and I will talk to you guys later on.